What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that is the one, the only, Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, happy long weekend Friday, buddy.
That's right. I am self-labeled to avoid any confusion.
Dude, we're getting ready for the long weekend, which means PSA, we will be off on Monday. No show on Monday. We'll be back Tuesday. But coming up on today's show, Overwatch 2 PvP is now down to 5 versus 5. Xbox and Bethesda join hands and for another conference, and troubles still in the waters for Ubisoft. But don't forget, you can join us live every day, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, except for this coming Monday, of course, at twitch.tv/theofficial ITG. If you can't join us live, no big deal. Hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, YouTube, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the world. Scott, any plans for the weekend, man?
Oh, not much. I think I have to clean up what's left of Resident Evil 7. There's a lot of DLC I have to touch, and just when I thought I was free from the game, it's pulling me back in again.
It's not over until it's over, until you see the tall lady.
That's right. I have several hours yet, but I'm excited for it.
So you wrapped up. You've wrapped up Resident Evil 7, but you still have all the DLC. And then are you going directly into Resident Evil Village?
I would like to, but I think I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer financially. That will also give me the chance to play 7 over again, which may sound like a fool's errand, but there is multiple endings to the game, so hopefully I can try and figure out some more of the backstory.
No thanks. I will always pass on Resident Evil, but that's why we have you guys on the show to cover all that stuff, because horror is not for me. But what is for me is Microsoft to host a joint Xbox Bethesda conference to discuss future projects. It seems a little bit of an odd timing there, Scott. One of the biggest announcements of last year was the conclusion of Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax Media, which included studios like Bethesda Softworks, Arcane Studios, one of my all-time favorite, and much more. Recently, the director of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, conducted an interview with LaFargo that revealed some fascinating new information about the newly formed partnership between Bethesda and Xbox. The most exciting of which includes the news that Bethesda and Xbox will host a joint conference during the next few weeks to discuss future projects from Bethesda and other related studios. Scott, E3 is just around the corner, dude. Doesn't it seem weird to you?
This does seem like strange timing. Did they not have a position already available with E3? I'm sure all they would have to do is ask, really.
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't think they're going to do it on the E3 stage, do you?
Well, I would have initially thought so, but now that they're deciding not to, it makes me wonder how much they have to announce, first of all, and if there's also an E3 event that's going to echo some of the same things.
Well, exactly, right? It says, hopefully we'll learn more about what everyone at Bethesda is working on and get more clarification about how that will work with Xbox. There's no set date for this conference, but it's probably not a coincidence that E3 2021 is right around the corner now, which means, like, why would you wouldn't have a conference and then E3? You're going to do I would think, dude, they're all in, like, all hands on deck right now to prep for E3. It's only weeks away.
Oh, yeah, that's what I would have thought. But is this a strange way of them saying that they're just going to work together on certain segments during E3, but that's not what this sounds like. It sounds like it's going to be an entirely different event.
Exactly. It sounds like it's a whole conference on its own, right? Microsoft's goal in relation to Bethesda and the other studios acquired under ZeniMax is to allow them full creative freedom, just like Xbox Game Studios. Bethesda, however, will retain its entire publishing branch, including marketing, sales, communication, and more. In many ways, life does not change for Bethesda under the Xbox banner. Dude, that's exciting to see right there. That it's not Xbox coming in and saying, okay, now you're doing this, you got to do this, and you got to do this. And then all these other people within ZeniMax lose their job at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's much better to maintain what already works. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Oh, exactly. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, they're definitely focused on Now, moving ahead with E3, I think. So will we see a conference after E3? Which just, to me, seems a little bit bizarre as well. Like, maybe in a few months afterwards, Scott? Like, why would they do this? It doesn't make any sense.
Unless there's some things that they know are just not going to be ready in time for E3.
Sure.
And then a week or 2 or 3 afterwards, they will be closer to completion. That might make sense, but that would be a missed mark. Traditionally, E3 is the place to bring your hot news.
Well, exactly, right? We expect to see Starfield, I think. Do you think we'll see anything from the next Elder Scroll?
Oh, I'm hopeful, but I don't believe that it'll actually happen yet.
No, I think we're still early.
One thing I'm curious of is how far away is the next Dishonored title?
Oh, dude. So if we take a look, right, but right now Arcane's working on Deathloop, which is going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, which looks incredible, which gives you the feel of Dishonored. So that looks almost like it's Dishonored 3 to me in my eyes, and a lot of other people feel the same way. So I'm curious to see how that takes off, and then how long, we touched on this earlier too, is how long is this set for PlayStation only? Because it's got to be coming over to the Xbox and the Xbox Game Pass, Scott.
Yeah, after this acquisition especially, you'd think, I know they have to honor certain agreements. That's
of course.
For sure. I don't know if Deathloop is considered one of those.
I don't know, because that was acquired before the whole purchase of ZeniMax Studios, right? That deal was already set and done with PlayStation, so we'll see what happens in the future if Xbox ever sees the light of day when it comes to Deathloop. The article also says it's also worth mentioning that apparently ZeniMax and Bethesda president James Letter reports directly to Xbox head Phil Spencer, highlighting once again that Bethesda is a little different than Xbox Game Studios. Many older Bethesda games recently joined Xbox Game Pass and even gained first FPS boosts to support instantly making games like Prey and some of the best games on Xbox Game Pass. Dude, that thing is just non-stop.
Oh yeah, there's always something added to it, and upgrades to Prey. That's interesting. I haven't actually tried that one out. I played the original Prey, but
creepy.
Not the new one.
Did you remember when they announced Prey and it was this like bounty hunter situation? I was all in on that one, and then they completely reformatted the whole system, and then I was out. I was disappointed.
They announced that right after I had completed the first game too, which, to be honest, bounty hunting in this space station didn't really make sense to me at the time.
Sure,
but I was intrigued of what it could be.
Yeah, man, I had high hopes. Like, I saw the trailer. Yeah, of course, it was CG. It was all CG. But it was still, I'm like, man, if they can kind of make on what they're promising here, this would be cool. And I would actually be a part of the Prey franchise then. Because that one, the second one, just wasn't for me. Not one bit. Let's get into some Overwatch 2 news. Scott, Overwatch 2, new PvP changes, Monte Carlo map, and more. So yesterday, Blizzard hosted a new Overwatch live stream with a bunch of new details on the upcoming sequel. While the biggest news was arguably changing the PvP team compositions, there were plenty of other new details. Below, we have some of the biggest news going on. Let's talk about the fact that they're going from 6 versus 6, Scott, to 5 versus 5. As reported earlier, Blizzard has announced that Overwatch 2 will introduce 5-member PvP teams down from the 6-person teams introduced in the first Overwatch. Along with the smaller team size, tanks will be adjusted so that they are more like brawlers in a fight rather than stationary shields. Scott, what's this do for you? Anything?
Well, that's interesting. I'm too far removed from Overwatch to know what the meta is currently, but taking one team member out of the calculation makes it quite different. Do you value more support, or do you value more tank, or do you need that straight up attack? And it's going to be interesting to see kind of what metas form out of 5v5 instead of 6v6, because I think traditionally you'd have 2 attackers, 2 tanks, 2 healers, and you essentially form 2 fire teams that can regenerate and are really strong. So I wonder if this will shake it up too much, or if they'll change any sort of the play style, the game types to compensate. I have a lot of questions out of it.
No, absolutely. Furthermore, each class will receive a new passive ability to complement their abilities. Tanks will have a knockback reduction and reduce ultimate charge gain when taking damage from enemies. Damage heroes will get a movement speed bonus, and support will self-heal when they don't take damage for an extended period of time. So definitely some major changes coming to the game. A new Monte Carlo map was revealed. Blizzard also revealed a new map during yesterday's stream called Monte Carlo. Based on the luxury vacation destination, the fictional version of the Monte Carlo is very much like its real-life counterpart, where beautiful buildings are situated on steep hills. Dude, I always like these big, huge vista kind of experiences, and you can get that into like a condensed version for a map is always pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the set areas in Overwatch, especially when it comes to a city, because you get the ability to kind of see what the worlds are and what they look like and how they're populated. There's cars in the streets, you know. There's some interesting things that we've seen in the past.
No, absolutely. Assault is a mode where an attacking team and defending team via the contested capture points on a map. Attacking teams will have a set time to capture a point, while a defending team must stop them, and the two teams will switch off. So a couple other things in the mix-up as well. Blizzard is working on more push maps than just Toronto, our home city. Push. Ooh. Well, what you got? What you got?
Oh, I wonder what does that map entail? Why Toronto?
Yeah, I know. It's not something we normally hear of very often, is it?
Yeah.
Push is an upcoming game mode where both teams will play a game of tug of war using a robot that will push in the direction of whichever team is losing. Blizzard has revealed it's working on more push maps other than the upcoming Toronto map. Dude, where are we going to be? On the 401 for this thing? They were downtown on Queens? Like, what's going to happen here?
The Don Valley parking lot moving slowly forward and backward.
Right? You get into rush hour in the 401, nobody moves anywhere. During the live stream, Blizzard revealed Rome will be a push map as well. Overwatch 2, Blizzard is experimenting with new modes beyond push, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. There's all kinds of tweaks, new game designs, gameplay, and design changes. The HUD will feature a new update and UI improvements, all kinds of things. Scott, does this excite you at all?
Actually, it kind of does. At first, I was kind of joking around with the idea. Like Overwatch 2 wasn't Overwatch 1 supposed to be a decade project, but
right.
I think it may be coming up on about that amount of time now. It's not too far away, so maybe it is actually a logical time to introduce some new modes is essentially the biggest thing, I think. Well, new characters, I'm sure there'll be some new characters in the mix, but I think we'll see all the old ones. So I hope it's a refresher, and I hope it brings a new crowd of people that are not just esports level of players, because at a certain point you get into some games and it's just a meat grinder.
Well, absolutely, right. And I think that's one of the things that kind of it loses me on the fact that I can't really compete. I always went with the healer class anyways, so I was able to stay back and kind of stay out of the fight and help the team kind of move forward, which is kind of more my play style. I'm more of the healer class, support class. So that's always working for me. Dude, my kid right now, my youngest, is just, he lights that thing up. I'm like, dude, how do you do these 9? I'm like, come on, really? But as caught by Polygon.
The youngest.
Yeah, he's the youngest one. I know. Yeah, Austin is into Siege, but now so is Garrett. Garrett's coming into Siege now as well. So it was fun to see him. We went 1v1. He said, Dad, let's 1v1. I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go. So that was a good time. As caught by Polygon, the New York map in Overwatch 2 has a fun tribute to former Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan. Eagle-eyed viewers will see the New York has a store called Jeff's Corner Pizza. So that was pretty cool. Nice to see they pay homage to him. Jeff has been there. He was the one who really kind of had the foresight to work with a couple others and keep pushing that moving forward. So we got some trouble over here in the Twitch chat. Technically, you're the youngest is playing. Yeah. You know what? Flooded. Nice for you to show up, buddy. Appreciate you being in there. But it's always cool to see. I'm anxious to see, because now they're also bringing in a story mode too, Scott. That, I think, is really kind of what excites me to see what happens when the story mode comes out for Overwatch 2. You going to get in on that one? Oh, we lost you, Scott. We lost all audio on Scott's side.
Oh, there we go. I got to figure it out. But at first, I had forgot about the campaign edition, the
Right.
storyline kind of aspect to it. I forgot about that altogether. That is actually probably the strongest edition in Overwatch 2, because Overwatch 1 ran some events that were very limited time offer kind of things. You get in, you play. It was kind of a PvPvE
Yeah.
scenario,
Right.
and those were really interesting especially because they broke up the usual kind of formula. So I hope that they really go all out with that for this edition.
I hope so too. I'm looking for the story because I think it'll help newcomers get introduced to the game, and they won't be so overwhelmed going, okay, it's just PvP, right? And we're gonna get slaughtered. So this kind of brings in a new opportunity, I think, for a lot of people. So that's
And
all.
it gives you a starting point for which character you may enjoy too.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard
good
to
point.
just pick out of a grid of a ton of different characters if you don't know anybody.
Close your eyes and land on one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have a ton of characters, right? And they're going to bring a bunch of new ones coming into Overwatch 2. So exciting times to see where Overwatch is headed. A huge competitive scene. Obviously, when it comes to the world of Overwatch, they've got stadiums now that they're kind of developing and working on and having all kinds of things. The Overwatch League is absolutely on fire. So there is a high level tier when it comes to the gameplay of Overwatch. But if you're more like at the bottom of the barrel, like I am, I need to see something that's going to allow me to kind of get in there and learn the mechanics a little bit better than what I have in the past. And I think this could be the way of doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's time for me to reprise my role as the pro Genji on console.
Oh, there we go.
The one and only.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Almost a year after toxic workplace allegations, Ubisoft employees reportedly say nothing has changed, Scott. Almost a full year following a wave of harassment and toxic workplace allegations across multiple Ubisoft studios and departments, a new report indicates that very little has changed within the company. A report by French publication Le Telegram. That's my French accent coming out there, Scott. Beausoleil. Got it. I nailed that thing, man. I'm awesome on that one. Yeah. As translated by Games Industry Biz, states that it has the first wave of legal proceedings brought by workers, union solitaries information. So this begins this month, actually. Ubisoft has done minimal work to improve its culture. However, that's unfortunate. For one, many of these accusations still have jobs at the company, such as, I'm not going to get into these names, dude, but so the people who have been reported on are unfortunately still there. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. If you are going to change how things go, sometimes you need to change the people who work there as well, right?
Sometimes, yeah, I have to agree with that. I hope it's not a case of somebody being dimed out for doing their job. I hope it's not just kind of a spiteful action that these reports were filed in. But of course, that's not what you assume in this kind of scenario. And
not at all.
If that comes down to it, then eventually, for the good of the company, you do have to make some movements at the very least.
No, absolutely. No, this is something that should be taken very seriously, and hopefully they can sort things out. Ubisoft is one of the biggest in the industry, so there's a lot of leadership and things that people need to follow, I guess, in the footsteps of Ubisoft in creating what they do create as a whole company. So if sometimes it only takes one bad apple, dude, and it ruins everything.
I've had that in my own experience.
Oh, many times. But let's get into some good news.
I've had to be the guy to clean out the issue, and
yeah, that's hard, man. That's hard.
But it generally results in the right emotion, right reactions.
Absolutely. So it's always for the better, right? But let's get into some cool stuff, because Destiny 2 is getting a cross-play beta from May 25th to the 27th. It's not very long, but it lets you get in there. Players on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Stadia will be able to play Strikes together. Bungie has announced in a new blog post that from May 25th, 2021 to the May 27th of 2021, there will be a special crossplay beta test live in Destiny 2. Specifically, there will be a new Vanguard Strikes crossplay beta. Scott, you jumping in? Dude, when's the last time you played Destiny?
Oh, I was trying to think about that, actually, and I when did that one come out? Did Destiny 2 release in 2016?
Dude, it's been a while.
Has it been that long?
Has it really been that long?
I haven't played it since probably about 6 months after release, so I am quite removed. But
No.
my initial reaction to seeing this headline was Destiny 2 is still going?
Yeah, yeah, dude. 2017 is when it launched. So
Okay. Yeah,
it's still going, man. It's still going. A lot of people still love that game. So that's
oh
cool to see.
yeah. This is interesting because I do have some friends that have played on PlayStation. They claim to be, amazing, perfect characters. So this would be an interesting opportunity to try and mingle. I like that.
No,
That's always a good
crossplay
idea.
is always cool, and it's got the
Oh
PvE
yeah.
aspect to it, right? So it's not competitive, so you're not getting PC mixed up with console, because we all know how well that works. So, but
Yeah, anybody who's played Predator knows how that one works out.
exactly. All right, let's check out, because Epic Games Store Mega Sale offers 4 weeks of free games, starting with NBA 2K21. Yo, what a great start. We all know that Epic Games is looking to bring in some major titles, Scott, to the platform, and this is a good start, and it's free. So that goes, let's see here. NBA 2K was released in 2020. It's timing seems to be publication. It will run until May 27th. So get in there, you check it out. There's one free game coming. We'll see what else is in the future for games. They haven't announced what else is coming next, but dude, that's not a bad start.
No, well, I'm not super excited on basketball, NBA,
Sure.
2K games. It's kind of a crossroads of things that I don't explore very often. But it's hard to argue with free. I mean, why not try it out at that point? Why not? You know what? I want to make my own shoe. I'm gonna make a Mountain Dew designed shoe.
I forgot about that. That's a good point. Yeah, no, absolutely. Scott,
it's one of my favorite side things in the game.
Let's get into game announcements and what games are coming out today. Take it away, man.
All right. Well, there is a celebration. I actually just saw the clip of this right before we went live.
Cool.
There's a celebration that's happening in No Man's Sky in honor of the Mass Effect release, the new Legendary Edition. There has been sightings of the Normandy from Mass Effect entering atmosphere and just kind of hovering in the sky, similar to something you would see in Star Wars, just kind of hovering right there. Yeah. And it's very impressive. And again, just like I joke about Destiny 2, No Man's Sky is still going.
Yep, absolutely, man. Yep. It's nonstop. Yeah. What a comeback.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and a good sign. It's always worth spending time on those games. If something comes out too early, it could be broken forever. But in this case, there is a road to redemption.
What's next?
We have Descenders. I actually just tried this game out, I believe 2 days ago. Descenders will be optimized for the Series S and X consoles. That is getting a full frames increase up to 120.
Nice.
And that is going to be quite interesting. That game is very fast paced, so having extra frames is super going to help. But this ups it to 4K resolution, 120 frames per second, as I said, and overall just tweaks to improve the visuals, improve the lobbies. There's crossplay with PC coming. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And there's supposedly less loading screens as they work to utilize the hardware.
Nice.
We have Hot Wheels info.
Yeah, man, I was excited.
The college campus is the latest of 3 race environments currently revealed for Hot Wheels Unleashed. Awesome. The college campus joins the dark and dusty garage with its underground mood and the skyscraper, which is a construction site. And those are some interesting picks right off the start. I like that. I think I need about the year 2000 living room. I think that would be my favorite pick.
That could be rough.
But we have a few releases today as well. These are full game releases, that is. We have Knockout City coming to the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. Miitopia. I believe we discussed this a few days ago, actually. This is coming to the Switch.
Yep.
And Rust drops on console. This is for the PS4 and the Xbox One. That is today.
That is today. It's also live right now over at InsideTheGame.ca and our YouTube channel, where Nate and Steve took a look at that game. So go and make sure you check that out. Scott, let's wrap it up, buddy. It's time for the weekend. Let's go get partied up here and have a good time. It's a long weekend for us, so don't forget, we won't be back till next Tuesday because, like I said, it's a long weekend. This has been ITG Daily. Thank you for hanging out with us. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. Hit us up at InsideTheGame.ca, YouTube, podcast services around the world, and TV streaming networks. Until next week, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll catch you inside the game.